It's definitely frozen. Don't worry, you're good to go. And we still talk about it to this day because we're like, yeah, we just get lucky. It certainly means the most to me out of anything I've ever done. Looking for somebody to come on and play my surprise husband. I think that was maybe the most fun I've ever had on a film set.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Heart in Motion podcast. I'm so excited to be talking with Marcus Rosner today. Hi, Marcus.
Hello.
Thanks so much for being here. You've got a Lifetime Christmas movie coming up, and I want to talk about that. But you've also got some other projects. I know you're writing, you're producing, and I definitely want to make sure that we get into that. So, if you're okay with it, let's start with your Christmas movie that's coming up on Lifetime, December 12th, I believe, 10/9 Central. You are going to be starring opposite Emma Johnson in Christmas in Alaska. So, what can you tell us about Christmas in Alaska?
Yeah, because in Alaska, well, we shot that a while ago now. It was spring of 2024. The storyline is basically two business suit types have to go to Tokyo actually for the holidays on some big business suity excursion, and their plane has to make an emergency landing in Alaska because of weather, I believe. Again, we shot this almost 2 years ago. Even though I produced it, the details are a little fuzzy, but I'll pull them out of the recesses of my brain as best I can. And then we touched down, and lo and behold, my character's sister lives in Alaska with her family. We are a bit estranged for familial reasons that we slowly uncover as the film goes on. We begin to reconnect. And Emma Johnson's character is very adverse to the outdoors. You may have seen this storyline before. And I mean, we're both kind of adverse to the outdoors in this one, but yeah, the fun with Christmas in Alaska, in terms of filming it, and I think as far as the audience will be concerned, is like just the different set pieces we got to do. Like we were snowshoeing, we went dog sledding, we do ice fishing, we do ice skating. It's like a ton of outdoorsy activities.
So, I'm assuming you didn't actually film it in Alaska.
No, no, I wish we had. It would have been better. No, we filmed it in Edmonton, Alberta, my home and the home of our production company, which is almost like Alaska if you ask the locals. But no, it not quite.
So, you mentioned that you produced this one. So, I always want to, ask when you're actually acting in it and producing that, what are some of those benefits to kind of having both of those roles in a movie like this?
You can do whatever the heck you want is one of the benefits, for the most part. Yeah, like autonomy is. I think the difference when I'm on one of my sets versus when I'm just an actor on somebody else's set is just this level of comfort. Our production company, Northern Gateway Films, is partnered by myself and my producing partner, Dylan Pierce, and then our other producing partner, Andrew Sholichuk. They both live in Edmonton full time, and then my wife, Allison Croker, she's changing her name, Allison Rosner, shortly. And then my producing partner's wife, Ashley Pierce, the five of us sort of make these together. And so we end up feeling very familial on these sets. I'm just endlessly comfortable as a performer because no take is precious because I don't feel like I'm wasting anybody else's time. We feel like I'm wasting my time and our time. And so there's a real freedom that comes along with performing under that climate. And so I love it. And I mean, me and Dylan try to imbue that sense of freedom amongst the other performers as well. And it just feels like fun. It's always fun.
How many, I know, you shared some things on Instagram, which is so kind of great. It's really great to hear that your take on the producing now and the writing. How many of the projects that you're doing, acting in, are you actually like producing or, is that happening pretty often now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get asked this a lot, and I'm always trying to figure out what the latest answer is. I would say over the last 5 years, our company has produced 12 films, and I think I've starred in eight of them. So I guess that's 66%, I
Hmm.
think. So
Really
yeah,
good
like
math.
two, I mean, two-thirds worked out pretty good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I guess I'm starring in about two-thirds of them. I think that is how many. I'd have to go back and check, but that sounds right. And then but then in addition to that, that's about half my year, and then the other half is usually acting in other people's projects. And other people's projects, I mean like TV series and other MOWs as well, the Hallmark and Lifetime and all the networks. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I hope that paints the answer that you're looking for.
You produced the Lifetime that was out this summer um, with Brittany as well, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, My Final Victim. Nope, that was the working title at the time, and it became The Little Girl Who Lived,
There you go. Yeah.
starring Brittany Bristow, and I was more supporting in that one. And on screen, and then yeah, we produced that, and that was the most recent movie that we produced actually in the spring, and that had a quick turnaround and aired. So yeah, that was fun. It was a thriller. We hadn't done a lot of thrillers before. That was the second thriller that we'd produced, both in the last year, and this one was a great increase in quality, in my opinion, from the first go around. We learned a lot, and having Brittany in front of the camera was just great because she is an amazing actor, and yeah.
Yeah. Loved it, by the way. Loved it.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
So you mentioned Emma Johnson. How did she get involved in this project?
How did she get involved in this one? Emma was, when we first started working with our distributor, TF1 America, at the time they were called Real One. So I never know how much is too much like inside baseball-y, like boring for the fans in
Oh, we
terms of
like
like
this
production
stuff though. We love
companies
the
and all that
behind the
stuff.
scenes.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right. Um, so when we first started working with TF1 America, they loved Emma Johnson. We didn't really know Emma that well, and we put her in a movie called The Christmas Train Parade at their behest. That movie is now on Netflix, actually. That's our first movie to appear on the Netflix. So that's exciting for us and for TF1 America. But and we just fell in love with her. She's just awesome. She's cool to work with, great attitude, good performer, um, just down to have fun and make mistakes with us. And so then a year goes by, and we were like, let's get Emma back. So yeah, we just like Emma.
So you play Oliver, Emma plays Megan. How do Oliver and Megan meet in this movie?
We actually already know each other, and we are adversarial coworkers off the top. And Oliver is kind of a bit of a brown noser around the office, and Emma's character is sort of vying for that attention. And so we both have to write. It's all coming back to me now. We have to write articles, and we have competing concepts, I believe. And then once we get to Alaska, those concepts sort of take root in the experiences that we are having in Alaska. Boom, it all came back. I remember Christmas in Alaska.
That's why we do this, right? So you mentioned some of these outdoor excursions, and I know you can't say a whole lot, but how do those play into the fact that these are journalists? Like, how do those kind of storylines overlap?
Yeah, classic fish out of water shenanigans, really. Yeah, we don't know what the hell we're doing. And that's the fun of it, hopefully. It was for us, that's for sure. Um, and so yeah, just fish out of water shenanigans. Though honestly, the dog sledding sequence is one that was, I think that was maybe the most fun I've ever had on a film set, because the dog sledding trainer guy was super intense and super like, you cannot figure this out in a day. I need to be on the dog sled the whole time. And we had to be like, you cannot be on the dog sled, or else the whole reason we're here is shot, because you can't be in the movie. Like, we need to figure this out so that I'm on it with Emma and this kid, Essek, who is this talented little actor from Edmonton. He's out in Vancouver now. Everybody in Vancouver hire him. And so eventually I like earned the trust of this dog sled guru over the course of the day, to the point where he would like gave me the reins and I could take it across the field. And it was just so fun. It was exhausting, and we crashed at the end. But yeah, that was a little story that came to mind. But
So did you end up doing all of your stunts? Did you prove yourself after that?
Yeah, well, for the dog sled guy, I won him over and they fed us lunch in their house that day. But yeah, I mean, I try to do as many of my stunts as I can just because it's easier to edit, especially when it's our movies. It's much harder to edit around a stunt person, and it's much more expensive if you're producing the movie. So
Yeah. Was that your most challenging scene to shoot?
yeah, yeah, definitely. Oh, we did do we also have an ice fishing bit in this one, and our ice safety person was like, it's definitely frozen. Don't worry, you're good to go. And me and Ryan Northcott and Emma Johnson all march out onto this frozen lake, and we had our auger thing that you're supposed to chip down into the ice. And the second I started chipping away, water started gushing into the hole, and I thought, oh my God, we're going through this ice. And I called cut just as an actor in the scene because I was like, okay, these two are going to be too respectful about our shot because the cameras are way back on the shoreline in this shot, and there's just this big wide, so nobody else could even see what was going on. And so I was like, okay, I think we might fall through the ice. We got to shut this down. And then the ice fishing guy came out and he's like, no, no, this is supposed to happen. Don't worry, it's like a foot thick, but the water does sort of like sit in amongst the ice and we'll come to the surface like this. Anyway, so there's lots of little fun stories like that from this one, actually.
So there's a lot of Christmas movies that come out this time of year. What would you say is something that makes this movie stand out from the rest?
Probably the outdoorsiness of it all that we're talking about. Yeah, the outdoorsiness is a big one. The lack of extras on the negative side. We watched this one after. We were like, we should have had more extras, but there wasn't that many in the script because they're kind of in this isolated place in Alaska. But it does
Yeah.
feel very, very isolated. This isn't something to sell a movie, but this is
But we'll
it
all
was
be
something.
looking now.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's gonna be like, oh, this feels kind of bare. Um, no, the outdoorsy aspect of this one I think is fun. And this one had a really nice ensemble cast. We have two kids in this one, Essek Moore and Charlize Adeline. And they are two of the most talented young actors in Alberta, and it's just always a pleasure to prop up young Alberta talent. So that was a real plus for this one.
I was just visiting a couple of days ago with Kerry James, who's on Heartland, and he was talking about the talent in Alberta and just singing its praises about there's just so much going on there. And also, I mentioned Edmonton because I have a really good friend that lives in Edmonton and said, I've got to get up there and visit. And so we were just having this conversation about the amazing talent that's in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real hungry community. Is probably the best way to put it. You go to these smaller communities that are doing film, and there might be like one or two crews working locally, and they might have only a handful of productions they do every year, but they're lunch pail people. They come to work with a smile and they're happy to be there. They're not just churning out stuff like a lot of bigger hubs, and that's what I love about going home to work. It's really not the weather and the fact that all the restaurants shut down at 9 p.m. But um, yeah, it's a lovely place to go to work because of the people.
Do you have a favorite scene that we should be definitely tuning in
The
for?
dog sledding, just the dog. Yeah, I just like the dog sledding. Uh, you know which one I don't like? It's funny because probably just because I produced the thing, but it's like as many positives come to mind, all these negatives. And the movie's not even out, so I should have been be talking like this. But the airport, I did not care how we did the airport. The airport feels like a very small airport, which is funny because we actually shot it at an airport, which never happens. But and that's right off the top of the movie. So if you watch the movie, you can look for the things I
Stay
like and
past
the
the
things I
airport.
don't like.
Yeah. Stay past the airport scene is what you're saying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Do you think though, I mean, you've mentioned, from that producing standpoint, you're always looking at those things like, oh, we could, I mean, how often is that happening where you leave one movie, you watch it, you guys are editing it, and then you're like, we won't do that again, like that learning process.
Every time. And that's what makes it fun is that you're actually trying to get better and improve and you do it. I mean, everything from the way you light scenes, the way you shoot scenes, which are Dylan's decisions as the director, to who we crew and who we don't crew and who we cast and who we don't cast. And you just get better at seeing what works and seeing what makes you happy and who you want to be around and what you can stand behind in front of the camera, meaning like what you're proud of putting on screen. And that's really the joy of like having a production company.
What would you say is like one of those big things that comes to mind when you're like, if I could have told myself this the very first time I produced something, this is one of the biggest things I've learned?
To chill out, but it's like anything. You do something and you don't know what doesn't need to be stressed about. And that is like just the universal story of learning any new task. And when you finally get good at something enough to figure out like, okay, I don't need to stress about X, Y, and Z. My attention needs to be on A, B, and C. Then you can actually start to enjoy it because you get to feel like you're good at it. And that, that producing is, especially independent producing, independent filmmaking, which is essentially what these movies are, because we're a small production company, and we're just making them as one-offs. It's tough. It's really tough. And so I stressed about everything back in the day because I thought everything was going to ruin the movie, and then the movie's going to suck, and nobody's going to watch it, or our partners are not going to want to work with us anymore, or all this stuff. And yeah, but time.
Oh, yeah, always. It's always time. Christmas in Alaska, what do you think is the scene that's going to, with what you can say, that you think is really going to stick with the audience?
Um, there's some heartfelt moments in this one. I think all the scenes that incorporate as many cast members as possible, I like that stuff in these movies. These movies so frequently feature one and two, like the lead female and the lead male. They're off alone, they're doing stuff. Maybe they're at like a market or they're out and about, and there's a lot of like faceless extras drifting by, but you don't really interact with them. And so anytime there's like an ensemble cast in one of these films, I really enjoy that, especially when there's cast members of different ages and all these like sort of different perspectives sort of thrown into one scene. And there's some cool campfire stuff in this that I think there's one scene where Ryan Northcott is he plays my sister's brother in this one. My sister's played by Ashley Pierce. And Ryan is telling this like scary campfire story, and the kids are in it. And I just remember that night on set how much Essick Moore, who was like a 10-year-old kid at the time, was just burning me over and over again with jokes and just cracking everybody up. And just his mom kept running in and trying to tell him to chill out. And I was like, no, it's this is hilarious. This is so like little stuff like that that I hope sort of seeps into the scene, that fun that we were all having together.
So, would you say this movie is more heart, feel good? Like, how much comedy? What would you say about this one?
That's a good question. I think that this one has more heartfelt moments than some of the ones we've made, especially towards the end of the film. But anytime I'm doing like an MOW that isn't a thriller where everybody's trying to murder everybody, I usually try to like make my scenes comedic to some extent, just because that's what my instincts are and that's what makes me have a good time. And so I usually am hamming it up a little bit. But so I think there's a bunch of that in this. I haven't watched this one in like a while. I think since we edited it, but I think it's funny. I hope.
3 words to describe Christmas in Alaska.
Ah, snowy.
Real
Um,
snow or fake snow? When did you guys shoot this?
okay, that's a good story right there. I so we're we go back to Edmonton in spring of 24 to shoot this, and we're doing two movies back to back, and this was the first one. And I think it was March. And in Edmonton, you can usually get snow for 7 to 8 months of the year. But we got back there and all through pre-production. We had 3 weeks of pre-production. We were prepping both these movies back to back so we could shoot them back to back. And I think we did 3 or 4 weeks, and there was no snow on the ground, no snow anywhere in sight. And we were like, what are we even gonna do? Because it's just there's not a lot of like fake snow being made in Edmonton because there's not a huge film scene. We were like thinking about if we could rent ski hill machines and stuff. We're like, I have no idea what we're gonna do. Let's start shooting inside to buy ourselves another week to figure it out before we actually have to go outside. And the morning we woke up to go shoot this, I picked up Dylan, again, my producing partner and the director of all our films. And it was just like blanketed snow everywhere overnight. And it stayed that way for 3 weeks while we shot this thing. And so it looks so snowy because it actually was. And it was like God's gift to this
Oh,
movie. It was so funny the way it worked out. And we still talk about it to this day because we're like, yeah, we just get lucky.
meant to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so snow.
Or snow. Snow and family and dog sleds.
That's the moment, right? Did you purposefully like mess up the dog sled scene just so you could keep riding around on the dog sled?
I no, I was too
You're like
scared to
budget, budget,
lose.
budget.
I was too scared to lose the confidence of the snow or of the dog sled guru guy. And these dogs were insane. They were like they come blazing like bats out of hell and then we're supposed to get on it. It was actually very intimidating at first. And at first I was just riding it by myself to try to get used to it. And then we were like, okay, now we're gonna put a kid on it. And it was like we were talking to the union in the morning, trying to convince them that it was gonna be fine. And and it did end up being fine, but right at the end, everybody's getting exhausted. And by now, Estek is off the dog sled, but it's just me and Emma. And we were coming back to because we would shoot off into this field, and they would send a drone after us to get these big sweeping shots, and then we would come back and sort of shoot the actual dialogue scenes back at like this base where all the crew was set up. And we were just coming back at the last on the last shot, and I was so tired, and then the dog sled sort of went off the track, and we both just like slowly tumble over. I should find that and post it up before the movie comes out. Maybe it was funny. And then everybody rushes over, they're like, "You okay?" And then I was just laying there, like, "Yeah, we're fine." Um, yeah, I can't even remember what your question was, but
It's a great answer, whatever it was.
great.
I don't want to get away without talking about, because I know we're going to have, the romance is there, the comedy is there, but you mentioned that Oliver, there's a little bit of history with his sister. So will we learn more about that story? Is that part of?
Yeah, big part of it. Big part of it. And we have a nice makeup scene at the fire um, at some point in the movie. And yeah, yeah, nice little reconnection moment there. It's a real story of like siblings that have moved apart and not properly dealt with tragedy and have let that sort of sown the seeds of discontent in their relationship.
Did you just produce this one, or did you have a hand in writing this one as well?
No, I did not. Well, this one this one needed some help.
Needed some
And
editing.
yeah, it needed that's actually fun. I didn't remember that either until just now. But yeah, we rewrote a lot of stuff that finishes the movie just because it wasn't really good and or working. And but no, I'm not credited as a writer on it. But we will often do like tweaks here and there to try to help the movies be a little better.
Got it. Okay, so shifting gears, I got to listen to, I've heard it before, but I listened to it again yesterday, the post, and I think you may even have it pinned on Instagram about, some of that you're wanting to adjust and shift and like the focus of the types of projects that you want to do. And that was really to talk a little bit about your short Emergency. Is it called Emergency or Emergency, the film?
Oh, that's a good question. It's just emergency. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that? The history behind that, why, even like growing up and getting into acting and all of that. I would love if you could just share that kind of like why you've made that shift and the direction that you want to go with your projects.
Yeah. Thank you for asking about that. This is a project that certainly means the most to me out of anything I've ever done. in terms of film and TV because it's a story directly from my heart. I grew up, my mother was 15 years old when she had me. Um, she had my brother at 20 to another father. My dad was never in the picture, and my brother's dad was not a good man. And we suffered some abuse in our household, and it's sort of, if anybody has been through this, they realize just how much it shapes them. And what's been interesting to me in my life is that you can feel like you've transcended it, but it just sort of lives in you. And it was about 5 years ago that in the middle of the night, kind of woke up. I don't know if I had a dream or what, but I remember laying in bed with my then girlfriend, now wife. She was sleeping beside me, and I just pulled up my laptop and kind of jotted down this story that came to mind. And it was really a fictional story set in very real circumstances that I had lived through. Um, and there's a fictional event that was meeting somebody who was really the embodiment of my wife in child form, more or less. Is sort of like a symbol of somebody who extends a hand at your most trying time and really pulls you from the fire and teaches you to love and to keep an open heart and not succumb to the darkness and all those kinds of things. And so there was a lot of big ideas in this 14-minute film. And I wrote it. I felt like, wow, I feel really good about this. It stars two 8-year-olds, and it's written for two 8-year-olds. And they meet one night in this emergency room while the boy's mother is getting treatment, and and the boy is planning on doing something to take ownership and power back in his life, but will that will lead him down a very dark path. And she sort of steps in at just this right moment and intervenes, and a real connection is formed, and they're changed. And um, I wrote it, and then I didn't know what to do because I only acted to that point, and then I was like, okay, well, I think I want to produce. I feel like I have a mind for producing. I feel like I love logistical challenges and organizing people and leading people and all those things. And then just through a series of serendipitous events, I met Dylan, my producing partner, who I've talked about on the pod already. And we went on to make, a dozen films over the last 5 years. And year after year, I was like, I should make that short that I wrote. I really want to step in the director's chair now, and I want to have a little more creative fulfillment because I've made so many of these Christmas movies, rom-coms, thrillers, and they're always so fun to make, but I'd done that before. I'd done it already, and I already sort of like figured out how to do that. And I really wanted a new challenge, and I really wanted to tell a story that was my story and something that was very bare and honest and frightening for me to share. And year after year, I just wouldn't. And I kept telling myself there was all these reasons like scheduling and time and money and all these things. And eventually I was like, I know exactly how to make a film now at a much bigger level than this even. What is the reason I'm not making it? And it was just fear. And it was like I finally did it. And one of the reasons we made my final victim, no, the little girl who lived, which it became, starring Brittany, was because I really wanted to parlay the crew right after that into making my short film. So that's what we did. Is like 2 days after we wrapped that MOW, we went and made my short film. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with the way it turned out. Um, yeah, it's a real miracle to me. I think that when people watch it, they're blown away with these child performances. I just knew how to get them, but I also worked with Andrew McElroy, who's a an illustrious acting coach out of Vancouver. He basically is the reason I'm acting to this day. I think I took his class when I was very young, and he was like, "You can do this for a living if you want," and he helped me figure it out. And like he's done with so many careers out west, and he now coaches all the kids on Percy Jackson, the Percy Jackson series on Disney Plus, and works with kids all over the world. And so I enlisted him as sort of like a project for us to work on together, and also because I knew he would be able to get incredible performances out of these kids. And yeah, I don't know, I could talk about it all day, but it means everything to me. And at some point next year, I'll be posting it on YouTube after we've done a festival run. We're still at the beginning of that process, but yeah, I love that movie.
I love that. You gave a little bit of this on Instagram, and there's just so much in that, and you talked about the fear of it. But I think it just encourages all of us, those things that are just sitting there, like you said, that you think that you've dealt with them, they're there, but the fact that you said, no, I'm going to do something with this. Um, so the festival thing, you sit on it, we don't know how that works. You just taking it to festivals, letting it get the word out. Is that how that works?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know how it worked either until a short time ago, and I had to sort of learn that game. You basically, I mean, there's really conveniently like one website called filmfreeway.com that allows you to sort of tap into submissions for all these film festivals all over the world. And then depending on when your film is completed, you get this window of time to go for the festivals. And so really our window is 2026. And yeah, we'll try to get into as many good festivals as possible, get as many eyeballs on it, and then eventually I'll just be throwing it up on YouTube. What I am privileged to have that not a lot of filmmakers have is already this following from being an actor in front of the camera. And so I'm sort of guaranteed some eyeballs in that way once I throw it up on YouTube. So that is sort of like this end goal that I'm looking forward to, because I know that'll probably be the time when most people see it. But in the meantime, these festivals don't want to accept it if it's just sitting online available. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of why we have to keep it behind the curtain for now.
So getting it to festivals, is that just, is the goal is it awards? Is it finding a way to get the story to like get it out to a larger audience? What is, why the festivals? That's the part we don't know.
That's a great question. I mean, it's almost just because that's what people do with short films and independent filmmaking in general. But I said this to my wife, who helped me produce it, when we were getting on the plane to come back to Toronto after shooting it, and it was just sitting on this hard drive as big as my phone. All the money and effort had gone into that, and I was just looking at it, being like, "What I just went through the last 4 days." I was like, if I lose this, I'll be okay. Like I just got it out of my system, and I feel
Yeah.
good about it. And then I spent the next couple of months editing it, and then watching different cuts of it on my TV here my house as it further came together. And I thought, if nobody ever sees this, I'll be fine. Like I just feel like this great cathartic release. And so the whole festival thing is really this bonus. I don't know. It's just the thing to do. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do that too. But again, if it doesn't work out, then I've already gotten so much out of it. So I don't know. Awards would be nice, I guess, would be one
Absolutely.
extra thing on top, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I love that story. Okay, so you surprised us at the end of season 3 on Sullivan's Crossing. We get to the end, and Maggie, who's played by Morgan Kohan. First of all, you guys had worked together before, right? Love and Harbor
Yeah.
Island, right?
Yeah, shout out Morgan. I We did Love on Harbor Island. That came out in 2020. So we worked together like 5 years ago. I had never met her. I don't think she'd ever done a Hallmark movie. I don't think she's done one since. Maybe she did two more the next year. But and then shortly after that, she got this series, and we were just sort of like we had mutual friends, and Brittany Bristow actually is a mutual friend of ours. Um, I assume all these people don't mind the world knowing who's friend. Yeah, why not? I'm sure that nobody cares. I'm always like, I don't know what people want people knowing. I'm like pretty much an open book, but.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, we have mutual friends, and we're just like mutually supporting each other through social media for many years. And then I just get a call last December. My wife and I were going to Morocco because she had a convention out there. She works in documentary television, and film. And And so we were on our way to Morocco, and I got this text from Morgan. She's like, "What are you doing next week? Are you available?" I was like, "Oh, I'm kind of going to Morocco, but what do you got?" And she's like, "They're looking for somebody to come on and play my surprise husband that we're going to cliffhang on the end of season three, going into season four on Sullivan's." Um, and she's like, I'm pushing for you. And I was like, "Well, that'd be great. That sounds amazing." And next thing I know, I was flying back from Morocco to Halifax, Nova Scotia to shoot for like 2 days and then back to Morocco because I just needed to get back there. But and I missed my flight. I had to hitchhike across Morocco. That's a whole story for another time. But yeah, so they kind of came out of nowhere, all that to say, and I didn't audition or anything. I just, you don't know, got along with Morgan and she put a good word in for me and my agent, I should credit her too, because I know she was pushing for it. So yeah, it kind of came together all happenstance, and then yeah, we just finished wrapping season four because I joined the show in a more official capacity, and
Yeah.
I can't wait for that to come out. It was some of the most, I think it's the best work I've done. So yeah, we'll see if other people think the same.
So you went in to do season three knowing that Maggie's husband will be back season four.
Yeah, but it's TV, so it's like nobody knows if a show's coming
Yeah.
back ever.
Yeah.
So, and so they were like, "We're gonna drop you in, and you're gonna go. Is that any way to talk to your husband?" And then we're gonna cut to black, and then if we get picked up, then we're gonna make this a storyline. And so I was like, "Sounds good." And so I just kind of spent 6 months doing my thing and not thinking too much about it. And then they got picked up, and I just spent the last 5 months shooting it. So, um, yeah, it was so great. Chad, Michael Murray, who I got to know while we were out there, has become a friend. We get along really well. Incredible family man, somebody who is definitely in a position that I would aspire to, and was very open about thing. I mean, I was just so full of questions. So I would just be grilling him all day with questions about this, that, and the other. And he was always ready with good advice. And then Morgan has just become a great friend too. And yeah, I really love it out there on that crew and on that show.
Had you filmed out in that area before?
No, I'd spent very little time in Nova Scotia, but Nova Scotia ended up giving me the impression of Alberta. And I said this in my little rap speech as everybody was clapping me out. I just said like my favorite place to work is Alberta because of the people. And nowhere I've worked other than Nova Scotia feels like it comes close. And people just come to work and they're happy to be there. And
Yeah.
I loved it.
Well, and the setting, it's just beautiful. Like the scenes that we get to see in Sullivan's Crossing are just gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. Nova Scotia is outside of BC, I think it's like the nicest place I've been in Canada. It Yeah, the coastline is gorgeous, and yeah, I can't say enough good things.
So 5 months. So this is a pretty substantial season four for you then. Can I do the math?
Yeah, I guess yeah, I mean, I was pretty open about it on Instagram, I guess. Again, this is like one of those things where I'm like, what am I supposed to say and
I
not
won't
say?
push it.
Yeah.
I won't push it.
No, it's a substantial role. Yeah, it's definitely I'm there. I'm a big piece of it.
Well, those are when we found out about Sullivan's Crossing, I mean, and I'm in the States, so it's, interesting, tricky for us to get it. Glad that the CW has brought it on and all of that, but so many people love that series. Um, and it feels in a way a lot like some of the older series from 10, 15 years ago that Chad Michael Murray would have done back then, even.
Yeah, I know. It's right in the Chad Michael Murray lane, the One Tree Hills of the world, and
Yeah,
like Dawson's Creek back in the 90s and
got it.
all these shows over the years. Virgin River now, it was sort of like a sister show of it because they have the same creator and Roma Roth. Um, yeah, it's exactly the kind of show I've been probably circling for a long time and am now fortunate enough to be on. So
Love it. Well, we're excited to see season four. So you've
me too.
got Christmas Con coming up. You haven't done Christmas Con before, is that right?
No, never.
You excited
Haven't
about
done
it?
it.
You excited?
Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm anxious about it, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest. I don't feel like I'm good at being whatever this is, pseudo famous or whatever, you know. And so the idea that people pay hard-earned money to get my photo or get my signature or anything like that just feels silly to the point of overwhelming. But I am grateful and I will give the best of myself to every single person who steps in my line. And I don't take it lightly, and I'll just try to have fun with it, I guess.
Did you do Hallmark Christmas Experience last year?
I did, yeah.
I
Yeah. That
thought
was
I
one of
saw a
those.
picture that looked like the backdrop for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the weekend or four of the Hallmark Christmas experience in Kansas City last year, right before Christmas. And that was lovely. But my understanding is that it's structured so differently than what we're
Yeah.
going to go do in New
Yeah.
Jersey. So yeah, they took such good care of us at the Hallmark Christmas thing. It was like panels and yeah, it was
This
really
one's a
well
lot
run.
more like meet and greet, right? Like people sign
Yeah,
up to a lot of
yeah,
get in the line to meet the person, get an autograph, take a pic kind of a thing.
that's my understanding. Yeah.
Okay. But it's been around for several years, so it must be.
Yeah, all my cohorts have been doing it and they rave about it, so they can't be wrong.
Okay, so what's next for you? Anything we can be looking for? I know you've got another Christmas movie that maybe we'll see down the road, right?
Yeah, what's out right now? Coupled Up for Christmas is out there, I think on GAC. This one, Christmas in Alaska, is going to be on Lifetime. Like I mentioned, Meet Me at the Christmas Train Parade, which I produced, is on Netflix. Emergency's coming out next year. Sullivan's Crossing's coming out next year. I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff. We're working on some much bigger stuff in development right now that we're taking a break from the MOWs for a bit to try to make a big budget feature that's been long gestating and is out to a big name actor that we're hoping says yes. And if he doesn't say yes, then hopefully another big name actor says yes, and we'll shoot that next year. So that's sort of the exciting stuff that's in the right now. I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff, but yeah.
So we've got a few days before Christmas in Alaska comes out. I always like to ask this question. What is a project, whether you've acted in it or produced it, that comes to mind that you would say before December 12th comes around, go check out this project, something that you're really proud of?
That like feeds into this movie, or is
Yep.
just like something else? Like if you've never seen anything of mine, then
You
maybe
got it.
that's an interesting question. I like Coupled Up for Christmas a lot, to be honest, and that's just because that's another one that we also produced at one of these lower budgets that I star in, and I think that what we try to, I mean, what you sacrifice when you have a lower budget is production quality because you're more constrained with the set pieces that you can create and the ways you can craft the light. But I always think that we offset that by giving great performances and great chemistry. We really try to focus on curating that. And I think in this one in particular, Sarah Canning and I, if I might toot my own horn, I guess, uh, are just like so tit for tat in a really funny way. And then this is another one of those ones that had like a good ensemble. And we're all in the same room. So it plays like a sitcom at various times. And I just loved making it because we had the freedom to shoot in wides and get that physical comedy. Um, that I think is a little more rare for these films, partly because we were constrained by our time, and so you kind of are limited in the coverage that you can shoot. So you're like, how do we make up for that? Okay, well let's go a little bigger with it, and we'll go after shots like that. Yeah, sorry, couple that for Christmas.
And you said, did you say that one's on Great American this season?
I think so, but it's also streaming in
So you
places
can,
that
if it's on Great American, then they can definitely, anybody that's got PureFlix is going to be able to
y-
possibly see it on PureFlix.
conceivably. I'm looking it up right now. I think it's on, looks like Fubo TV,
There
whatever
you
that is.
go.
I shouldn't say whatever that is. Yeah, it's out there. Honestly, like everybody does these days, I'm sure just Google it and you'll find it
You
somewhere.
can most
Plex
likely
or
pay
something.
for it even like on Prime.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Everything's VOD now anyway, video
Yeah,
on demand. So,
yeah.
um, yeah.
Okay, where can everybody follow you to stay up to date on all of your projects?
Yeah, on Instagram, Marcus underscore Rosner. On Twitter, it's the Marcus Rosner, and that's pretty much it. Um, yeah.
Production
Oh,
company?
yeah, our production company's Northern Gateway Films. It's also on Instagram, and we're pretty active there. Follow Emergency the Film on Instagram is is the one that my heart's really in. Um, yeah, those are kind of the outlets I think right now.
Okay, I want to remind everybody that Christmas in Alaska is going to premiere on Lifetime December 12th, 10, 9 Central, and then it'll play several times after that. Plus, people can watch it on the Lifetime app. I don't know, I think that may come out like the next day on the Lifetime app, but they could do that as well. Marcus, it's been a blast talking with you. I'm so excited to see this, to see Sullivan's Crossing, but also follow along with your short and see what happens with Emergency. So thanks so much for the chat. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Stephanie. Good chatting.
All right. Bye bye.